This is Najma Memon, and I'm very thankful to Dr. Sabah Saeed for introducing me here. And I'm going to share my screen and closing the video for the time being. Can you see my screen? Can you see my screen? Dr. Sabah, can you tell me that my screen is going okay?
Yes, ma'am, it is visible and you are audible also.
Thank you so much. So let us start with the first presentation, and I congratulate the team for organizing this workshop. So, title of my talk is Fundamentals of Research Integrity. And already Dr. Sabah Saeed has introduced me with very nice words. And I would like to tell the audience once again that I belong to National Center of Excellence in Analytical Chemistry, University of Sindh, Jamshoro. And basically, I am professor of chemistry with a specialization in analytical chemistry, and I hold my PhD from University of Sindh, and I have postdoctoral research experience from Wake Forest University, USA. My field of expertise is basically analytical chemistry and then material science. Presently, I am working on the development of waste-derived materials and their applications in various demanding fields like energy storages, water purification, and also I work on the food analysis. So I can be found on ORCID and other research profiles. So let us come to the topic. In today's talk, we'll be talking about the research integrity, misconduct, and various organizations that are actually providing guidelines for dealing with the like misconduct and other similar stuffs. So let us talk about the what is research integrity. I always start my presentations with saying that what is research. So for me, research is finding the truth, and publishing the truth is like publication. So we always, must understand that we are in pursuit of seeking the truth, and then uh, the responsibility lies with us being researcher that we have to report that research with utmost honesty. I'm sorry, someone is using drawing and it is, in like interfering with my slides. So please ignore that one. So research integrity in terms is that commitment to honesty, accuracy, efficiency, and objectivity, and it covers entire research life cycle. It is research life cycle, even the honesty guidelines, but it is actually covered throughout the life cycle, that when we are designing our experimental research, when we are developing the data, and when we are publishing our work, and when our work is under review. So being a reviewer, when work comes to us, it is our responsibility to look into the practice without bias and review the articles likewise. So we now learn that research integrity is performing the research throughout the life cycle, uh, from the data publications and review. So in this perspective, there are certain organizations like COP, Committee on Public Ethics, and there is another organization that is Office of Research Integrity from USA. The role of COPE is, focus on the ethical publishing practices. They provide guidance for editors, authors, and reviewers, and for institutions as well. And the role of ORI is to oversee the research integrity in biomedical and behavioral research, and define misconducts and promotes responsible conduct of research. So there are certain guidelining organizations that are providing the baseline data, that what should be the practices in performing the research and then reporting the research. So the role of COPE is to provide guidelines, including defining various terms used in research integrity, and also journals, the research journals can be the members of the COPE, and then they can follow the guidelines and can place the logo. This provide the credibility to the journals that they are following publication ethics guidelines and things like that. So this enhances the weightage of the journals. So all the journals that are following the COPE guidelines are the member of COPE, has better credibility than other journals. And the good thing about the COP is that they continuously update on guidelines with rapidly evolving situations. We know that recently there are lot of retractions, and there are lot many journals that are closed or discontinued or put under the halt for various reasons. So COPE is providing continuous guidelines to deal with the retractions and the impacts of retractions and things like that. So COPE is complete platform that provides the guidelines. However, the responsibility of implementation of these guidelines lies upon journals or the institutions. So let us define how ORI defines scientific misconduct. So this is like research misconduct means fabrication, and fabrication means making up of data or results, or recording or reporting them. So fabricate is developing the data from nothing. A researcher has nothing, but he's just fabricating the data. And falsification, which means manipulating the author has the data, but he's or she is changing the data to fit the desired results. So this is also comes under the misconduct. And the third thing is plagiarism. It is the appropriation of another person's ideas, processes, results, or words without giving appropriate credits. So recently we have seen many such cases that the cases are reported in a way that someone else results are reported by another one. And similar case was reported last year in our institution as well, that someone stolen the computer of a professor and then stolen the data, and then published with his own name. So this is the a very big case of plagiarism or fraud into the research recently reported in our institution. However, plagiarism is also like, taking the data for some published paper that generally we believe that is the similarity index. That is easy to judge. However, the plagiarism of the data stolen or the, without getting credit is hard to identify for the journals. But and this is happening. So this is the severe case of plagiarism, in the case where the data is stolen or taken from someone else and then reported completely with his or her own name. So this terms comes under the scientific misconduct. However, research misconduct does not include honest errors and differences of opinion. So something may be right or correct in my opinion, but maybe someone else difference of opinion. This is completely fine. We can discuss and talk and find the truth. However, if this is the just manipulated or fabricated data, then this comes under the misconduct. So there should be clear understanding of the concepts that honest error and differences or opinion does not come under the umbrella of scientific misconduct. However, deliberate fabrication or falsification of data does. So there are certain guidelines that we follow. So I will be talking about the Singapore Statement on Research Integrity that was actually developed in year 2010 into the second conference on the research integrity. So in that conference, there are certain guidelines and principles and responsibilities was charted out, and the Singapore statement forms the baseline for the further, guidelines for other institutions. So there were many people, those who talk into this conference and develop these guidelines. So major principles of the Singapore statements are the honesty in all aspects of the research. We must learn that what we mean by honesty, and we say that the whatever the data is, we need to put it on the table, and when we need to discuss into the based of our knowledge and draw the conclusion based on the data, not on what we want. So this is what I term as honesty in all respects of research. And then the principle is accountability in the conduct of research, that we should be accountable. If I've reported some data, then I should be able to defend that this is the right data that I obtained. And then if someone find that this data, this is the error, and there would be some experimental error, then I should accept that this is the experimental error, and then I will correct it. So this is termed as accountability. And then there is professional courtesy and fairness in working with others. So this actually terms that whenever we are talking about someone else's work, so there should be professional courtesy. We should not start blaming each other that that person is wrong and things like that. But we should put our opinion on the ground, and we should tell that this is my opinion and things should not be like this. But I believe that, I understand that things should go this way. So there should be professional courtesy. We should not start blaming each other. And there should be good stewardship of research on the behalf of others. So there are certain responsibilities that lies with us. Then there is a chart here that there are certain maybe 14 things that we need to take into the account. So there is integrity, there is adherence to the regulations. So we should be like should be aware that what agencies are regulating the rules, and we should follow the policies. There should be appropriate research methods, and there should be research records. We sometimes, I have noticed that we perform the research but do not keep the records, so for the cross verification. So this is must that we should have the research records and research notebooks, and we should acknowledge the research fundings, and we should provide appropriate authorship, credit to all contributors, and we should not miss someone who has actually contributed. And we should acknowledge into the publications. So this section actually is for for the people or for the institutions those does not qualify for the authorship, but they have significantly contributed to your work and provide things like resources or things like that. So you need to acknowledge them if they do not qualify for the co-authorship. And there should be peer review, honest peer review, fair, and we should in our publications that we should disclose the potential biases, and we should take care of the public communications, and we should report irresponsible practices. I've seen that there are certain blogs onto the internet that if we notice something that this is the error into the reporting, so people are reporting that this data has some errors on it. So this is reporting irresponsible practices. Someone you notice someone that it is a responsibility that we should report that into the and then should be action against those reportings. So we can report, but the action does not lie with us, and action lies with the journals and the institutions. So there should be research environments, like institution can provide the environment that foster the integrity and support. For example, the countries, those do not have the appropriate research environment, they push the academia or the researchers to provide, research publications and things like that. So this actually brings a misconduct into the research, that there are no facilities and people are pushed to produce something. So this is not supportive actually environment. So we should work on that one to provide the good research environment as well. Excuse me. So misconduct has some impacts. So when misconduct is reported, so this results in the loss of credibility. It can harm the patients. Recently, in the COVID times, we have seen that there are certain cases into the USA that the decisions were made on the basis of that false data. Excuse me. It seems I cannot continue the presentation.
It's okay, ma'am. Thank you so much for the impressive talk. Dr. Sabha, please proceed with further.
I think there is some problem. Thank you very much, Dr. Professor, for reminding us that integrity is not enforced, is to be practiced. So next, let's move on to our next speaker. Our next speaker represents power of independent vigilance in science. Mr. Abbas Aziz, founder of Researcher Society and an independent scientific sector, actively contribute Mr. Abbas Aziz, founder of the Researcher Society and an independent scientific detective, has actively contributed to corrections and retractions by identifying misconduct in material science literature. His talk, Scientific Misconduct in Material Science, will explore real cases involving some educations and their consequences for credibility and industry. This session is specially for the people who are working in experimental science. Pass, welcome. We look forward for your insights. Floor is yours, Prabhas. Pass, can you hear?
Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
And can you see my screen? Ma'am, can you see my screen?
Where we can see your screen also.
Okay. So thank you so much for your kind introduction. Hi everyone. Good morning. So as you already introduced me, myself Abbas Aziz. I am a research scholar at National Center of Excellence in Analytical Chemistry, University of St. Jamshedpur, Pakistan. And I'm also a scientific sleuth and a founding member of Researcher Society. And today I'm gonna give a talk on scientific misconduct in material science, which is fundamental and trending right now. So, a disclaimer: the presented content in this presentation is doesn't in, doesn't mean to disrespect or something to the research scholar and the scientist. The presentation is solely for the educational purpose only. So these are my mentors, Dr. Elizabeth Pitt and Dr. Mu Yang. I have learned a lot of things by them, and both of them helped me a lot in the research integrity. Seriously, me and Dr. Sabha, we both worked together in Pakistan, and we flagged almost 60 plus articles, and in which four articles were retracted and the few are corrected. So the material science. The material science is a field in which we develop a new material for a specific application, which can be used in any field. For example, agriculture, biomedical, or aerospace engineering, like ATC. For these newly developed material, you must need to characterize it to determine the properties. For example, there are various analytical techniques are used to characterize the newly developed or your material. For example, for microscopy, SEM, scanning electron microscopy, transmission electron microscopy, and atomic force microscopy are generally used to see the surface of your material. We also have spectroscopic technique like Raman, FTIR, XPS, UV visible to characterize to know the functionality of your sample, your material. So these techniques are generate complex data it generates spectra, images, and like diffraction patterns. So it is very easy to manipulate in my own observation in a data or in a graph. So let's discuss the real cases which I have that I have handled. For example, let's have a look on the FTIR spectra in a published article of zinc oxide, graphene oxide. The material author fabricated a material, graphene oxide and zinc oxide. As you can see that I also highlighted the anomalies in the graph. The first of all, here, yes. In the first highlighted area, as you can see that the geo highlighted with the red box, the spectra is not continuous. It the skin is broken right here, okay, which is usually not happening in FTIR spectra. Another anomaly is, as you can see that on the y-axis, all the uh, all the y-axis values are in a pattern except this 92. So this can be manipulated or drawn. Uh, and another anomalies, you can also see that the dots are present at various places in this graph. On the x-axis, you can also see the pattern of 1500 wave number and the 500 wave number are different than the other. So I reported to the paper and the paper was retracted within 3 months. Another paper with another example, as you can see that the XRD is the spectra of graphene oxide, titanium dioxide nanocomposite, which was fabricated using Moringa oleifera stick extract. as you can see that the highlighted area with the red box, the skin is broken. In generally, in XRD, FTIR, UV visible, the skin doesn't broken, usually as a principle, right? But in this spectra, the skin is broken at various skin size and also dots are present. It seems like someone drawn it. So it has also been reported to the PubPeer and it is under investigation by the editorial team of the journal. Okay, so let's have another example of the noise in XRD spectra. The noise being the random, okay, the randomness. So it doesn't come in a pattern. So as you can see that here the noise is repeatedly, it's repeating pattern. So because of this, the raw data was obtained by the authors and also reported on a respective site. And journal is also under investigation on this case. So right now, till now, I have told you the broken skin is uh, not. I cannot say the word possible, not possible, but it is not very usual, not common in the spectroscopy, especially. But uh, let's have another case in the spectroscopy analytical technique. The skin also doesn't come back. Skin when you characterize your sample with the any analytical technique, especially spectroscopy, you must set the range that which range do you want exactly to scan, right? So it scan simultaneously, continuously. From in this spectra, the scan started from 100 binding energy to 800. So it goes from 100 to 800, not like it goes forward and then suddenly backward and then again the forward, right? So it is also reported to the PubPeer and the case is under investigation. The same case, it was published in a proceeding materials today in which graphene oxide, titanium oxide, the same paper contained another graph. This is also anomaly in which the you can see the reverse scan. It is also reported the same back scan case in the FTIR spectra also. It seems like someone drawn it. So it is also reported. Okay, let's have another interesting case. The EDX spectra of reduced graphene oxide nanoparticle fabricated by a hydrothermal method for energy energy storage and the photocatalysis. As you can see the EDS spectra, you cannot, I don't think so, that you can see any sort of editing or any control used here. But when you process it with the software, the patches can easily can be seen right here from 0 to 2.5 kilo energy volt. Patches also available here that someone tasted something. So it is also reported. Another thing which is very common and I handled about 25 plus cases on it. When you characterize your sample via EBS, EBS is generally tells about the elemental composition of any material. So what we generally do, EBS is captured all the element present on in the sample. It could be your samples related elements or could be environmental. So, for suppose if you have unwanted elemental peak, so what you do? Could you use rubber or like remove it from a graph? This is not an ethical practice, right? So you have to justify the peak if it is appeared. Another thing is when we give our sample to the uh, I mean technical person to for the EDS characterization, we also give the required elemental peaks, right? For example, if I am fabricating graphene oxide or silver nanoparticles, so I tell him that I need a uh, silver elemental peak only. Okay, so carbon and oxygen are generally present. So without it, I don't want any other peak. So this is also selective reporting, which is also not, I guess, ethical. Okay, so try not to laugh. The another spectra of reduced graphene oxide nanoparticles. This is a Joule spectra. It started from 300 to like 850. As you can see that the graph move like its own way, goes forward, then backward, as you can see the highlighted area. So it is also reported and the case is under investigation. Okay, so this is the zinc oxide nanoparticles fabricated from uh, moringa oleifera extract, and you can see the disk diffusion method in which I highlighted the C highlighted disk seems like a drone, right? So, okay, just forget about it and just focus on SEM and TM images as presented in this paper. The figure A is the SEM scanning electron microscopy image, which was taken from another paper, which was retracted also. So basically, the image was cropped and reused in another paper. The presented figure B, as you can see, the PM image. It was also a cropped image which was published in the previous paper. So all this stuff is unethical. Okay, so the main question is why researchers commit misconduct? Look, the reason could be I like a bundle of reasons are there. So, but in my observation, uh, I could conclude that the publisher of Paris culture, they carry a pressure to like achieve more and more to get scholarship for scholar and to get promotions and awards for like the faculty. So also it falls the funding competition, the lack of ethics training, and weak supervision, which is quite low. So these are the possible reasons as I observed. Okay, so how do we detect the misconduct? So this is a question which is we are often asked by ordinary researcher or scholar that how you do it. For example, there are various software available which are some of them are paid and some of them are free of cost. You can also use it. For example, for image analysis, we use ImageJ, Photoshop, and the other software like ImageTwin for forensic image examination. It tells any anomalies in the images. Uh, you will learn more about the images manipulation, inshallah, tomorrow, because Dr. Elizabeth Bate and Dr. Rashid Richardson and Dr. Shotlu David are experts in this domain. We also use the AI and ML tools for the pattern identification. There are also some tools available. And for the data forensics, we also use some software for the identify statistical like anomalies for the raw data. Okay, so how to prevent the misconduct? As Dr. Nizma taken the whole class in which he discussed about that how to prevent, how to do a research with ethics, right? So here are some points which we should consider. First of all, preserve raw data. Don't delete or don't like just put through your raw data. Always keep it with you. Okay. So when you have, for example, if you have any query by the journal on any concern, they can raise any concern on your published data, right? So you must have your raw data and avoid over processing images that we do to look it more better and better and maintain your lab book transparent reporting as I discussed when I was discussing about EDS spectra that be a transparent. If you have any like environmental glitch in your samples, so just uh, justify it, right? And the last step is ethical mentorship. You can also contact to your supervisors and the one who knows the ethical route, especially the scientific route, like Dr. Elizabeth Bake and Dr. Moon. I take too much help by them. Okay, so the Pakistan status and the retraction and the misconduct, there is a graph, as you can see that this is the retraction was leaderboard presented by the post pub retraction dashboard. As you can see that Pakistan is on 10th number. I'm not just gonna talk about Pakistan. These all countries are not look good in on this like retraction board. The misconduct is not a good thing, right? So we must like prevent this practice and just make the science credible. We are losing credibility because of it, as Dr. Nizma also discussed about it. In 2024, when I was checking this dashboard, the Pakistan was not in top 10. But right now, recently, when I checked it, we are on a 10th number. It's not a good signature, I guess, for all of us. So you can also dispute the data. You can also like visit the website, the postpub, where all the data is available and uh, given by the detection watch and the cross-check. So finally, I'm very thankful to the listeners, the scholars, doctors, for getting a knowledge on research integrity, and I hope you will also deliver the knowledge forward to your students and your colleagues to make the science transparent, credible, and be ethical. So, if you need any help regarding research integrity and the analytical techniques, anomalies especially, so you can also contact me. I'm also available to give invited talks, seminars, and workshop also. You can also contact me personally, and you can also contact to the uh, other field also that Dr. Elizabeth Bick and Dr. Moon uh, they are also work voluntarily. So thank you so much. And now I am open for the question and the query if you have.
Thank you, Abbas, for your very insightful talk. And we are very thankful to Dr. Elizabeth. She is also present with us. And we all take very much guideline from Dr. Elizabeth and Mo. I am also their student, you could say. So Elizabeth has mentioned some issue in some of the papers that was the MPI papers of us.
Which paper, ma'am?
MPI papers, and it was with two graphs. She was asking, maybe Elizabeth, can you maybe join us? Yes.
Yeah. I hope you can hear me.
Yes.
I put it in the chat. I don't know if it was something. It was just like you were showing this one of the MDPI papers. I put the DOI in the chat, and you posted that one on Papier. So I found it on Papier, and it looked like the top one had two of these peaks like chopped off by putting a white rectangle on it. And I don't know, like I don't think it's very high quality, the image, so maybe I'm wrong. I was just it was just a little note. I was looking at the image like, oh, I think there's more to it, but yeah. But it's in the chat, so if you copy the number, you can look at it.
Can you?
Yes. Okay, sure, doctor. Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I will look into it.
Can I ask some more questions?
Yeah, sure.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. So, do you have access to Image Twin?
No, I don't have access to the image twin, but I like request to the other friends to like make it possible for me.
Yeah, I have trouble hearing exactly what you said. I can introduce you. I'm sure they'll give it to you. They give it to a lot of sleuths. They give free access to us. It's very kind of them.
Yes, doctor, you already did it once. I still remember it, and they were giving me a 50% off. That you, I got it. So I will try it again and.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and happy to help you if you need like a introduction or so. It's very easy to use.
Yes, ma'am. It's seriously very like I'm very proud to present my talk in front of you and Dr. Najma. Both you both are my like
Oh,
yeah.
happy to help. Happy to help. Yeah.
Thank you, Abbas. Thank you. May I join again? It feels a bit better.
Sure, ma'am.
Dr. Sabah, do you have time to talk a little bit?
Yeah, sure, ma'am.
Thank you. So thank you, Elizabeth, for joining us. And I do not have any experience of using such softwares. So I have no idea that what Abbas and you were talking about. So maybe we can learn together, Abbas and me. So thank you very much for introducing us to the softwares world for as a detection tools for the errors in scientific misconduct.
Sorry, ma'am, didn't get you.
Thank you so much. I was just telling that actually Elizabeth was talking about some softwares. So I do not have an exposure to the software and how these softwares work in detection of these scientific misconduct in images. So I was just saying thank you to Elizabeth that Abbas and I can learn together. So thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am. Sure.
I really also don't have much of those softwares. I think human eye is much better detector, maybe. So I just use my eyes to.
Ma'am, actually, Dr. Elizabeth was talking about the image twin, which is generally used to like if the images are previously published, so you can easily use this software to detect in which paper is your image is published. So you can easily track it,
Okay,
right?
okay, okay.
Yes. So she was talking about once she also told to the founder that they provide software in free of cost. So I'm very thankful to the Elizabeth.
Oh, that's really nice. That's really nice to know. But you are doing much better job than the image twin, I believe, because you are detecting very minor things into the traces of the FTIRs and things like that.
Yes. Yeah, the
Yeah.
image twin cannot do that.
Yep.
Image
Yep.
So image twin looks at photos, and it also looks at flow cytometry images, which are a specific. They're sort of plots, but it would not be able to look at those graphs very well unless the whole figure has been published somewhere else. But it has a database. So for SEM, scanning electron microscopy photos, you can use it. And TEM, transmission electron microscopy. You showed a couple of those, so those are part of material science. You could use those to scan a PDF for images that either have duplications within the photo or within figures, between figures, or even between papers, because it has Image Twin and also Proofik. Both of these tools have libraries of millions of images, so they'll find reused images as well, which is something the human eye definitely cannot do. But you're right, for spectra, all these plots that we've seen by Dr. Aziz, you cannot use image twin for those. It would not really do a good job. And Proofik also would not do a job there either.
Doctor, I'm sorry I didn't get
Good
it.
work, Abbas.
Thank you so much, ma'am. It was seriously honor to speak in front of you and Dr. Elizabeth Pitt. You both are seriously my teacher, my mentor, and thank you so much.
Okay, I have a
You're very
I
welcome.
thank you very much. Raj. I have a question. Anyone can ask. Maybe Elizabeth can also advise how we can protect ourselves. Like if we are a whistleblower, so what advice should we follow? How we can protect ourselves?
Ma'am, you are not uh, audible, so I'm not hearing you properly.
Is it clear?
Yes,
Okay, I have a question. Maybe Elizabeth can answer, or anyone can answer. Madam Najma can answer, or you can also answer.
yes.
What is an advice for the whistleblowers? How we can protect ourselves, because we sometimes feel that we are not safe. So, what advice you give to us?
Uh, do it anonymously. Don't show your name on a web or something elsewhere. Just go to the background and like fire in the hole. That's it. In my own observation, right?
Maybe Elizabeth, can you comment on that?
I have trouble hearing what Dr. Saeed is saying, so
Is it clear?
your microphone is not very good. Maybe you just should
I will
talk in
change.
your computer.
I will change for tomorrow. I will change it for tomorrow. So,
Okay.
can you hear me now?
I can hear you a little bit, yes. So what's the
I was
question?
asking about actions of the whistleblowers.
Can you repeat it? You're just breaking up, so I'm but
Dr. She is asking about that how we protect ourselves as a sleuth, as a whistleblower. So, what is your advice to for ourselves?
I can sorry, I'm just like Dr. Saeed is very soft and Dr. Aziz is very muffled. So I just have
Uh,
trouble.
So maybe I just write here
Oh
advice
yeah,
for the
just write it in the
whistleblowers.
chat.
put it
That
in the
might
chat.
help.
Yes.
And I was also typing in the chat. Ah. Yeah. Oh, that is a very hard question. Advice for whistleblowers. Because in some cases, or in most cases, a researcher who gets criticized will not be happy. I mean, that is obvious. Nobody likes to be criticized. And so I would advise for most people, especially if you are early career, and maybe even if you are a professor, it just depends on how much freedom you have and how how your boss is, looking for the type of work that you do. I would advise if you post something, let's say on PubPeer, so you see a problem in a paper that has been published, and you want to warn the world about that, to post it on PubPeer under an anonymous account. You can create an anonymous account, and it's completely anonymous. There's no tracking of your IP address. But if it's an internal whistleblower, that is much harder. So let's say you work in a lab and you know that something is not right, that somebody's cheating, but the papers are not obvious. It's not obvious that there's misconduct by looking at a paper. So you know that they're cheating some way or another. That is very hard to raise that. Hopefully, you would think that if you raise that with, let's say, your vice dean or your research integrity officer. I'm not sure if Pakistan has those, but in the US, most university, the anonymous whistleblower. Okay, please share the link. I'll do it in a second. But I was talking now about basically pre-publication. So things that you know internally, you work in a lab and you see a problem, you should raise it with your research integrity officer. So again, I don't know if Pakistan has those at university, but most universities in Europe and in the US will have those, and raise it with them. But unfortunately, I know from several whistleblowers that they will be seen as troublemakers. They will be not believed, especially if you are if the allegations involve a professor. Then usually the universities will not believe the grad student or the postdoc. They will believe the professor. And so in many cases, these cases don't end up well. And that is, I get a lot of tips, and I cannot respond to all of them. But sometimes when I get tips internally, I will look at papers, and if I find problems, that could lead to papers being retracted and even people being fired. But it's very, very rare that you can see something in the papers. And the link to post your concerns, I will also mention that tomorrow. It's pubpeer.com. That is a website where you can post concerns about papers. So I think Dr. Aziz already mentioned that a couple of times. So he has posted some of these papers on PubPeer, and you can install a plugin. I will mention this also tomorrow, where if you do a literature search, you can see which papers have PubPeer comments.
Thank you very much, Liz, for the insights. I have another question for you if you have time.
The top two signed with lots of retractions. Yeah, that's not a good sign, I would say. So was that one because there was a slide that Abbas shared? Was that I didn't quite understand that slide, so maybe you can explain it again.
No, it was a slide with like a lot of hype of this Stanford top scientist.
Was that one of Dr. Ioannidis' papers? Sounds like it.
Yes, they are top person from the world. There are a lot of retractions also. For everyone and top scientists also have the retraction here. So I was wondering if top 2% will the retractions should be in top or not?
Again, you're breaking up a little bit, but I can talk about people with lots of retractions. That is usually not a good sign. I mean, sometimes, of course, a person could find that there's a big problem in a paper and retract their own paper because they found a big calculation error or some misconception. And so people who retract their own papers that's generally a very good thing. But that's usually just one or two papers. There's even Nobel Prize winners who have retracted their own papers because they found a problem. But if other people find problems and then the journal will retract the paper and there's a person with, I don't know, 80 comments on papier and 10 retractions, yeah, that would not be a good scientist. I would not want to work in their lab. I would not want to collaborate with them because there's lots of problems in their papers. Either misconduct or it could just be extreme sloppiness. So that is not a good scientist to work for.
Dr. Saba, may I add something here?
Yeah, sure, madam. Sure.
Yeah, I think Dr. Saba is talking about the Stanford AD Scientific Index. So Stanford usually publish annually a top 2% scientist that is based on the citations and higher H index. So the scientists who have the highest citations and H indexes are, put in the quartiles, and then the people, those who have the highest citations, are placed in the top 2%. Scientist names are published and reported. So this is my personal opinion. I have no actual real study, but I think that this is the game of, number game, what we say, that and the people, those who are, publishing for just sake of publishing. And this is quite, I can observe that this is the above the human capacity to publish 30 research papers in a month, or maybe more you publish, you have more citations. And I believe that there is some, people work in the groups globally, and there is lobbying, and then they are publishing and citing each others. So these are the malpractices in the scientific publishing. And what Dr. Sabha is saying, that I believe that when you have lots of papers, so in under this practice, that these papers are publishing through lobbying, and the lots of papers are published, so there are more chances that there will be errors into the research. So this is, people have maybe 300 papers in a year. So this is not possible to look into the details of the papers. So eventually they face the retractions. So I believe that there would be certain nice groups, those who are working in the groups and publishing in the bigger groups, they could have lot of research papers. But the countries mentioned by Abbas in his presentation, I can see that these are not very scientifically and technically advanced. Some of the countries very poor research facilities, but still they are producing a lot of research papers. So under those conditions, when there are poor research facilities, people are producing a lot of research papers. So that sounds something fishy. And when the people like the whistleblowers, started working, then they come under they are caught and they are reported. So I believe that the people, those who have the 2%, top 2% scientists, have more chances that they could be reported and they have more retractions. So this is my personal opinion. Maybe there should be a study and detailed data that what's happening inside. So then someone can reach to the conclusion that why it is happening. So maybe this answers your question, Dr. Sabah.
Ma'am, again, you are not audible.
Bath. Mr. Bath. Bath, can you put this question on? Can you hear me now?
Yes, ma'am. Now hearing you.
Can you please put this question on because you are more clearer than me?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. What?
Can you put this question on from Anis Rahman and Rahim because my voice is not that clear. You can put this question on, please.
Yes, if you have any query, ma'am, let me know, please.
There is a question in the question answers, the chat.
Could you repeat it again, please?
There is a question in the chat box. Can you
Yes.
please repeat that question because I am not audible. Abbas, can you take question from Dr. Anis?
Yes, ma'am.
Please repeat that question. It's in the chat.
I think I can answer Dr. Maybe
Please, ma'am. Please, ma'am.
Anisul Hasnain's question.
Yes,
We discussed about the we discussed about the top 2%, and he's asking about the people in the red race. This also shadows the researchers are some advanced topics. So what is your advice? That it depends, you choose your plate. So if you choose your plate to do a real research and work into the cutting edges, so I would Nobel laureates, they do not and then the output depends on that. So not everyone, there are thousands of researchers in the world. So everyone can reach to the Nobel laureate position. You expect what is the outcome of your decisions. So this is my opinion and my suggestion that you know your position, you know your outcomes, and then with that.
Yes, ma'am. I really support the answer.
Okay, Abbas, you have more information about our last speaker, so can you take the floor and announce what we are going to do the next?
Yes, ma'am.
So go on.
We will have our next talk around 12 o'clock p.m. because Dr. Anna will online on that time. So can we end the meeting and restart at 12?
Actually,
What?
The earlier speaker finished early. The speaker finished earlier, so and she was supposed to come at 12 p.m. and at the moment she is not available, so we have to end this meeting now.
Okay, everybody. So thank you so much for joining us today. And we will have a next talk at around 12 o'clock. So Dr. Anna will take her presentation at 12 o'clock. So we will reconnect the meeting at 12. So please stay in touch in a group. We will inform you.
Can I interrupt?
Yes, yes.
Noor Mohammed had a question. I'm not sure how to unmute him because he's muted, but Noor Mohammed? He said he had a question in the chat.
Yes, ma'am, I have a question.
There you are.
Go on.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I want a little bit boarded answer for that. In a high competitive academic environment, how can early career researcher uphold research integrity while dealing with pressure to publish rapidly or generate positive outcomes? As a boss mentioned, for example, China, many of students go China, especially masters who just enter to field, how they tackle the things like that and misconduct they see.
Who takes that question?
Yes, and will you like to answer?
I can talk about it. I mean, I think it's an excellent question, and it's really, really hard because there's two different things that pull on you. Like on one end, you want to publish as much as possible, and you want to be honest, and those things don't necessarily go together, because we see that a lot of people who publish a lot, they cut corners. They feel this pressure to publish. They might resort to misconduct to reach the goal of publishing a lot. While in reality, if you want to do really good science, it's very slow. Science should be very slow. Science should not be, publishing X number of papers a year. It should be maybe one paper per person a year at most. And I think even some science might even be slower. So I actually think it's a red flag if people have published a lot. That tells me they might not be doing a good job. They might just put their names on things they should not be putting their names on, or they might use AI. Now, of course, with AI, we can just crank out paper after paper. And I think science should be slow. But I know this is a really, really hard thing. We all feel the pressure to publish, and there's sometimes really strict requirements. Let's say if you, in certain universities, if you want to get a PhD, you have to publish 3 papers or some other number. And I think when you are just starting in science, you're just learning it, so you cannot publish 3 papers in 3 years or so. That seems a very ridiculous requirements. I think we put way too much pressure on people to publish, and it's it makes people want to cheat.
Thank you, Elizabeth, for your insightful answers. There is one other. I have questions in fifth. The name is not there, but
I don't know. Can we unmute them? Let's see. Where are they? Infinix. Let's see. Ask to unmute.
yes, you can
Hi,
now.
Dr. Elizabeth. Can you hear my voice?
Yeah. Yes, we can hear you.
Ma'am, I have a question that I have a lot of paper published in agriculture, and I'm also a student of this agriculture institute Telegram, and I have published 6 papers in many journals. So I want to publish in international journals. So which is the best journals in internationally? So I want to publish internationally. So Elizabeth Big, please inform.
I'm having
Can
trouble
you
hearing.
hear?
Yeah, I'm having trouble hearing. Sorry. Maybe you can type your question in. I mean, we have plenty of time. I'm here, but I don't know if people want to do something else. That's fine. We could just keep on chatting. I think that's fun.
I
Right,
think
right.
he is asking about some good international journals publish his work.
Yeah, I cannot hear you either. Sorry, this is like terrible. Did anybody else catch the question?
About
Starting here.
I also didn't catch the question. Sir, you can please write in the chat box, please.
And Abbas, your sound is really good now. I don't know. That's much better than it was earlier.
Dr. Thank you so much. I used another microphone now.
This one is very good.
have to buy a new one. I didn't know that mine is not working good.
No, we know that.
That might is question. I think good journal publish in agricultural research. That is what I get. International journal publish. That's the question.
A good journal to publish in agriculture. Oh,
That was the question.
I have no idea. That's
because,
not my topic. Maybe
anyone
somebody
would
else
like
knows. I mean, I would just, you know, what if you are working in agriculture? What are the journals you're seeing good results in, or what are the journals you read the most? And very often, society journals are great. Like, I'm a microbiologist, so I don't know much about agriculture, but a lot of the American Society for Microbiology journals are very good. So maybe there's a Society for Agriculture, but I'm speculating. It's not my field, so I don't know much about that. I would not publish an MDPI. This is not very good.
There is another very critical question in the chat about researcher and supervisor relation.
Oh yeah, that is that's a tough one. So the question is about like a supervisor publishing a paper with their own name. Do you mean like they plagiarize it and they don't put the PhD student on it, or the staff member? It's just the supervisor, or is the supervisor stealing their work and not putting their name of the researcher on it, or is it the researcher on it? Because that is two different situations. But I've heard where PhD students have written a thesis and then their supervisor is publishing it without their name. That is unethical. That is it's not technically misconduct. Unfortunately, that doesn't fall under the US, at least the definition of misconduct. But it's unethical because the PhD student did the work and should be on the paper. But it's very hard to resolve because I get people sending me emails like that, where they say, oh, you know, that person stole my work, or, you know, another postdoc was put on it and then they published it together without me. And it's really hard for me to resolve that because I cannot verify who did what. Like, that is for me very hard to look at. But you could write to the journal. But once a paper is published, very often a journal will not want to retract it because of that, unless you have very good proof. So you have to make, if you can prove that your name should be on it, like you, for example, if you start a project, then you could make a document up front saying, okay, who's going to be an author? This is what we're going to do, and you know, make sort of an agreement who's going to be an author on it. And if you have a document like that, like an email, you could maybe prove that you should have been an author, but I think most people don't do that, and then it becomes very, very difficult to retract a paper. But I've been in a situation like that too myself. So it's yeah. In the end, it wasn't. It was where you just feel you did part of the work and you should have been an author. Dr. Memon, you have.
Hi. Yes, Elizabeth. I just want to continue with this question. Like a friend of mine in US, he just mentioned that if a supervisor has funded the research, then he or she can use the work that the student did and then present it with his or her own name. But if the supervisor or the institution has not provided any funding, then the work is solely done by the student or the scholar in the lab, then he has the all the rights to publish or present. I don't know about the US law, but he was from US, and we're just talking randomly, and he mentioned this. We do not have any such legislation in our country, but this was one of the situation that popped up from US, and you are mentioning that there are no such laws, but I have no idea that how to handle the situation.
That's a good point. That it is also true, at least in the US, that if you work in a lab and let's say you develop a method, but you don't really publish it, and then later on the method is used for another topic, the method sort of belongs to the lab. And it's the same with patents. Like the patents are not personally. If you work at a university, you sort of sign that all the IP, so the intellectual property, belongs to the university, not to you. And so if you develop some new technique, that's a US specific thing. So I don't know how that is in other countries. So, and sometimes that could result in a paper, but it's usually more related to patents, to IP issues. Why?
So, all right. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. No, I was just thinking that then if the situation is, getting more common in many countries, then there should be some regulations to deal with this issue. Like there should be some rules, regulations in the institutions related to this, research by the student and supervisor or the team, or who should be who should hold the rights to publish. So we can recommend from this forum that there should be some regulations related to this, that there should be paperwork that at the initial stages, that who is performing the research and who is supervising the research, who is funding the research, and then who will have the rights to publish or to present jointly or individually or what. So maybe we can recommend from this forum, we can ask Abbas to do this.
Ma'am, I'm so sorry. I didn't get you. Could you please repeat the question again?
Abbas, this was not a question. Just someone, maybe MHK Lodhi, posted a question into the chat box that this is the situation that students work in the lab, but supervisors publish with their own names without adding the names of the students. And then Elizabeth added that. Yes, but I found out that there are no regulations globally, that from this forum we can make recommendations to the Higher Education Commission of Pakistan, at least, to devise certain regulations or guidelines for the institutions in Pakistan related to the documentation or the records of who performed the experiments and who holds the rights to publish, individually or singly or with the teams. So we need to have regulations to avoid such issues.
Yes, ma'am, exactly. Actually, I got the question from MHK. Lodi, and the responses of yours and Dr. Elizabeth Bick. I also want to add something in it. I also handled a case related to it in which a student from Islamabad University, she contributed in a research, but the research paper was published by some unknown names, and she was yelling at a LinkedIn where we post our cases. So she said, I had all the proof that I contributed in the study, but my name is not mentioned in the the published paper. The paper was published by a well-known publishers. I'm not going to mention the name, but when she proved to the journal and requested to the dean of the faculty, ma'am, they took a legal step and the paper was corrected and her name is now appeared as a first author in the paper. So MHK Lodi, if you can prove it that you contributed in the study, you can also request to the departmental head, and you can also provide the proof where the paper has been published. So why not? Your name will be appeared by the correction. Actually, I faced, and it's my own experience because I have seen it. And the next point is that why we are not making such a society on a research integrity of the research. The Researcher Society is also working on it. We also provide workshop training sessions, as you can see that we also organized Research Integrity Week, and it is a free of cost with the international speakers, and all these speakers are well known. So just join us and let's stand on a transparency and for the credibility of science.
Thank you, Abbas, and all for nice comments. And it was very fruitful discussion, I think. And we have Dr. Anna is already here. I am very thankful to her that she came earlier online. Abbas, can you carry on with the next presentation? Because my voice is not that clear to everyone. Okay, so thank you, Dr. Anna, for being online earlier. So the final session for day is address one of the most dangerous and underestimated threats in academic research. Dr. Anna, research fellow at Freie University Berlin, is internationally recognized for her work on hijack journals, paper mills, and data sort, including creating the retraction watch hijack journals checker. Her talk, Hijack Journals, Definition and Key Challenges, will help researchers protect themselves and their institution from deceptive publishing practices. Dr. Anna, we are honored to have you with us. The floor is yours, Dr. Anna.
Hello, good morning. It's our good morning to everyone. It's a pleasure to be here and to speak about hijacked journals. So I would like to speak about definition and key challenges. So let me please share my slides. So, do you hear me? Do you see the slides?
Yes, we see it.
Perfect. So what are hijacked journals? Hijacked journals represent a type of a cybercrime. They create fake websites that use the title, ISSN, and metadata of established journals. So they represent a cloned version of a legitimate journal. Normally, they act as multidisciplinary and open access journals, despite the title of the original journal. They don't provide any peer review, and the published results are often based on low quality or dishonest research practices. Hijacked journals collect fees for publication, and this cybercrime is a $1 million business. Hijacked journals create clone websites with two strategies. The first strategy is creating a second cloned website. Like in this example, there is a legitimate journal, Turkish Journal of Physiotherapy and Rehabilitation, and well, hijackers created an alternative website on your right. Another strategy is to register an expired domain of a journal, like in this case of a Journal of Linguistica Antwerpensia. So this journal moved to another website, slightly changing its title. And in all databases, like for example in Scopus, the old link was mentioned as the main link of the homepage of the journal. Then the link expired because the journal had a new website. Legitimate journal failed to notify all the databases, and hijackers registered the expired domain and then created the cloned website of the existing journal, and then succeeded to index hundreds of papers in Scopus. This is actually an example. So on your right, you can see a domain for sale. And this domain earlier belonged to a journal. And then some hijackers registered this domain, and now this is a journal, Naturalista Campana, which is not a regional journal, but this is a hijacked one. So these journals, hijacked journals, they turn to be multidisciplinary journals. For example, this is a literature journal, and here you can see some papers on big data and Google search engines, which have nothing to do with the literature. And also you can see that DOIs of the papers are fake, because normally DOIs start with 10 and here with 16. Or here in another example about the Turkish Journal of Physiotherapy and Rehabilitation. Here you can see papers published on all possible topics. As for editor boards, so there are different strategies of how hijacked journals create editor boards. Or they take the editor boards of legitimate journal, or they copy, like in this case, they copy the editor board of an absolutely different journal not related to the hijacked one, or they create fake identities of editors. Like in these two cases, the journals of Annals of Romanian Society for Cell Biology and Converter, you can see here the editor-in-chief is Royan Oilin, but this person doesn't exist. These hijacked journals don't provide any peer review. On this example, is a peer review report of a paper that I tried to submit to a hijacked journal. So what I did, I copied a Wikipedia page, I translated it to English, and I submitted it. So there was no any word without plagiarism, so no original word. And actually, I've got this kind of in 2 days, I've got this kind of report about originality. 80%. There was 0% of originality, and the paper was immediately accepted without any revision, and I had to pay just a fee. Hijacked journals sometimes are low quality copies of original journals, but there were cases when hijacked journals copied the whole design of the original journal, like in this case. So there was a company that created identical websites of 13 legitimate journals of major publishers. And here you can see that the design is strikingly similar to the one of Springer Nature. The only thing that you can notice that in Springer Nature link, which is normally linkspringer.com, in the hijacked version, it's linkspringer.uk.com. This is the only difference. Now these websites have been blocked. They are not valid anymore. Or another case by the same company, you can see the similarity with Elsevier design and the hijacked version. The only difference was the signedirects.com, so it's additional as instead of signdirect.com in the original version. So they slightly changed the web domain title. Currently, what we know about how frequent these hijacked journals are, I'm creating the list of hijacked journals, which is called Retraction Watch Hijacked Journal Checker. Currently, there are more than 400 hijacked journals since 2020, since 2020, when I started to look at journals, and I created the list together with the Retraction Watch in May 2022. So now there are 401 entries in this database. So this database is regularly updated, and I see about 70, 80 new hijacked journals every year. This hijacked journal checker is open access, so you can verify the links of hijacked journals if the journal is in the database. And also this database allows you to send some potential hijacked journals to us. We verify them, and then if we confirm that it is a hijacked journal, then we will add to the database. And so we see that the number of hijacked journals is increasing every year. And the question is why hijacked journals are so successful, why they are able to dupe scholars who submit papers to these hijacked journals, but not to the original versions. First of all, hijacked journals started to target only print-only journals. When legitimate journals do not have proper website, and then hijacked journals started to create a website, and that seemed to be the only website of the journal. And that is why it was not difficult to dupe scholars. The second thing is because hijacked journals register an expired domain of the journal, and such a strategy allows hijacked journals to keep the link to the homepage in bibliographical databases. Sometimes hijacked journals hack the original website of the journal, and this happened, for example, to the journal Talent Development and Excellence in 2020, and that was my first hijacked journal that I have detected. Also, hijacked journals compromise the data of the original journal in indexing databases. For example, Google Scholar indexes all hijacked journals because this is how their mechanism works. Web of Science had individual cases of index checking when the papers from fraudulent journals were indexed in Web of Science. There are also hijacked journals in Dimensions, because some hijacked journals officially register DOI, so they have real DOIs, and that is why they appear in Dimensions, because Dimensions index only papers with DOI. Scopus is mostly affected by hijacked journals, and actually I have written a paper related to challenging posts by hijacked journals in Scopus. I found that at least 47 hijacked journals penetrated Scopus since 2013. So 33 journals indexed unauthorized content, 23 compromised the homepage link, and 11 journals did both. And it's only cases that I documented and I could provide proof. In reality, there are much more cases, because sometimes Scopus deletes the data and doesn't alert about it, by the way. And that is why when the case, which I know was there, but I don't have a documented proof, it was not included. And so when I published the paper in 2023, still 41 hijacked journals were still compromising the data of legitimate journals in Scopus. Following this paper, and by the way, you can see that I looked at active and inactive journals, so inactive journals that are not publishing anymore, and the majority of cases of hijacking related to active journals. So there could be a case when the indexation in the profile of the journal, there could be papers from a regional journal at the same time from a hijacked journal. And some countries were mostly affected. So in 2021, when there was an attack of hijacked journals on Scopus, I calculated what was the share of papers from hijacked journals in the whole indexation per country. So I looked from January to mid-May 2021, and I calculated the percentage of papers from hijacked journals in the databases. And so in Uzbekistan, more than 50% of papers were from hijacked journals. And so you can see also in some other countries, the percentage was quite significant. In India, the percentage is 75%, but in reality, the number of papers is just thousands and thousands. And this is an example of unauthentic, unauthorized content in Scopus. So this is on your right. This is a paper published in journal Aegeum that is devoted to Greek archaeology. So you can see that it's nothing to do with Greek archaeology. It's just some quantum mechanic publications, and this paper is indexed in this journal in the profile of the journal in Scopus. Or also this kind of case is a journal of Annals of the Romanian Society for Cell Biology. You can see that every year it publishes just few papers, and suddenly in 2021 more than 3,000 papers. Or another case, this is the regional journal, the Hong Kong Journal of Social Sciences. On its website, it reports that the journal has been hijacked, and here it's true, it was hijacked, and even papers from hijacked journal were indexed in Scopus. What was the reaction of Scopus? So Science Journal wrote a report about my paper, and they asked Elsevier to comment on that. And Elsevier mentioned that they started a thorough investigation of the journals in question. And also, they mentioned that maintaining the integrity and high quality curated content indexed on Scopus is of paramount importance to us. Actually, I alerted so many cases to Scopus, not all my requests were taken with attention. So I found that papers from hijacked journals were present in Scopus at least since 2013. So Scopus knew about the problem for a decade and didn't act and didn't prevent hijacked journals, didn't prevent this database from hijacked journals. And so they tried to delete some unauthorized content, not all. So there are some papers from hijacked journals still in the database, and Scopus has deleted all home pages of the journals in their profiles following this paper. And since that, I can say that I don't see like many cases of hijacked journals in Scopus. At least this paper helped to Elsevier to pay attention to the problem. Also, we can see that papers that are published in hijacked journals are associated with scientific misconduct. So this is a paper, another paper that I wrote on the prevalence of plagiarism in hijacked journals. So I looked at more than 900 papers published in hijacked journals, and I checked for text similarities. And I found that 66% of papers that I analyzed contain the signs of plagiarism. So we can see, and this is the highest reported prevalence of plagiarism ever. So we can say that the problem of hijacked journals is not only about their fraudulent nature, but also about the quality of papers they publish, because they have no quality control at all. And so this is my last slide to mention about how to detect a hijacked journal. First of all, you should check Retraction Watch Hijacked Journal Checker if the journal is present there. Then what normally I do if I see a potential hijacked journal, I look in a Google search or any other search engine if there are several websites of the journal. So normally you can see sometimes you can see that there are several websites, and you check which one is the legitimate one. Then I check what is the date of the registration of the domain. Normally, hijacked journals have anonymous registration, so there is no any information about registrant. So it will be a website registered with GoDaddy. GoDaddy is one of the most famous anonymous registers, and which don't provide any data. And so this is also suspicious. It is problematic. Also, I look if the domain registration is recent, because normally hijacked journals, they register a website, then they attract clients, and the website works and maintained until scholars pay for papers. When this fraud is discovered, then hijackers normally abandon this website and it's expired. So some hijacked journals don't work for a long time. And that is why recent registration could be also a sign that something is not going well. So this kind of combination, anonymous website and recent legislation, is a red flag. It's problematic. Also, you should look at the papers that are published there. Do papers correspond to the title of the journal? So, for example, the title says about something about medicine, and then you see papers on engineering or vice versa. This is definitely not a journal to choose for a submission of a paper. Probably it is not a hijacked journal, but just a predatory one. But in any case, it's better to avoid such journal. Also, hijacked journals normally target scholars in India. Why it happens, and I think this problem also is related to Pakistan. In some countries, the verification of the original journal comes from identification of ISSN. So if ISSN is in a database, for example, in the Higher Education Commission list in Pakistan or in the list of journals in India, then it's considered to be a legitimate journal. And that's what actually hijacked journals do. They copy the title and ISSN of the journal. And all hijacked journals, when they publish papers, you can see the title and then the ISSN on the top, just to prove that this is the original journal. And that is why the scholars from these countries are most vulnerable to this kind of scam. Hijacked journals normally write a lot of marketing emails to promote their own journals. And that is why when you see a hijacked journal, then you could see a concentration of authors of a specific country. Sometimes it's India, it could be India together with Uzbekistan, and so on and so forth. So if you see this kind of combination of titles that don't correspond to the titles of papers don't correspond to the title of the journal, and then concentration of authors of specific countries, then it could be also a red flag, and you should not submit a paper to such a journal. So that's all. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Anna, for such an insightful talk. If we have questions, you can ask now. Do we have questions from Anna?
I can ask a question.
Yes, please.
So you said that the highest number of hijacked journals was in Uzbekistan, I believe. Why do you think that is?
Oh, thank you, Elizabeth. Good morning.
Yeah, evening here, but sure.
Evening. Good evening.
Yes.
Actually, this is a great question. So, why certain countries are mostly affected by hijacked journals? I believe, and there is one paper about it actually, because normally hijacked journals have a relatively low fees of publication in comparison with other journals, and you can compare these fees with like some macroeconomic indices as GDP per capita or something like that. And so hijacked journals are mostly spread in countries, low-income countries. And I guess, and this is the case also of Uzbekistan, which is low income or a lower middle income country. And I think it's a combination of the income and the combination of awareness of the problem, because Uzbekistan introduced some new criteria of research evaluation, and so they were not aware of how things are working, and that is why there was a significant increase of publications in hijacked journals, and all this, by the way, hijacked journals were indexed in Scopus, and this also we can see that nowadays in Uzbekistan there are so many paper mills and so many problematic scientific practices. So that's the way. But now I don't see such. No, I see scholars from Uzbekistan publishing in hijacked journals, but not so much. So mostly India is affected by hijacked journals.
There's a question from
I have
Dr.
put question
Saeed.
in the chat. If I am not clear, can you please?
What is the current situation in Pakistan related to this issue? I didn't study Pakistan in detail related to hijacked journals, but I know that there are some. I believe that there are some hijacked journals in Pakistan. I mean, created by Pakistani, and not so many, by the way, scholars who are affected. Not so many, which I can see. So mostly it's India or Uzbekistan or Iraq or East Asia. Also sometimes China, but then they understood about this fraud, and I don't see Chinese scholars publishing there anymore.
My voice is clear. What if the student already published and got PhD degree on that paper, which is published in the hijack journal? So how should we do?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear your question.
Okay, let me type.
She will type it in. It's there's an issue with her microphone.
Now I've heard PhD students, and I want to be sure if I heard the question well. Yeah, yes, that's the case. So hijacked journals use the original journal ISSN. Absolutely. So they use that's actually the problem. So the journal uses the title, ISSN, and other metadata of the original journal. And that combination qualifies them to be called hijacked journals. If a journal copies only the title, it's not a hijacked with a different ISSN. It means that if it has a different ISSN, it means it's officially registered. It could be even two journals with identical titles could be both legitimate because it's very spread topic. So something in medicine, for example. Yes, PhD students really get, so the question if PhD students get the degrees based on papers published in such journals, yes. This is the case. They do so, and that's the problem with hijacked journals, that they can be used, they can be demonstrated, the real papers with ISSN, and PhD students, not only PhD students, but also scholars use it for research evaluation. And this happens not only in Asia, this happens in Europe. My colleague told me in Spain, told me that one PhD student wanted to use a paper in hijacked journal for the thesis PhD in Spain, and she verified through hijacked journal checker and found that this journal is actually hijacked. And based on this list, she didn't accept this paper. But yes, we still don't know much about the authors if they are duped by hijacked journals, or if they submit their papers to a journal believing that it's very easy to publish a paper. So we don't know much. We need to make kind of a survey or more research on that. And also it would be interesting to see how these papers are used for research evaluation, and also if universities understood that the papers that the scholars presented are not authentic, are not in the legitimate journals, and what universities, if universities had some administrative consequences or punishment for that, or I don't know. But this is actually a research question to do.
Thank you for your answer. There are more questions.
So the question, how do I find new hijack journals? Do you get tips, or do you have a specific search strategy to find new ones? So normally I use my search strategy. So the majority of the database I create together with Retraction Watch is based on the tips, on my tips of how to find a hijack journal, because some hijack journals represent a big network. So it's not just one journal. One Indian network can have around 100 journals currently. And so because of the fact that they have a similar websites, or some keywords that they use in that websites, or they use the same templates to build journals, so it's not really difficult to find new ones. And I know 3 or 4 big networks, so it's not so difficult to find new journals of these networks. The problem is when a new network appears, and then I need some tips from scholars who will point out that this is a potential hijack journal. Unfortunately, hijack journal stopped to send me marketing emails, because it was also a good strategy. But some scholars who know nowadays about hijack journal checker, they send and we verify. So I really, really appreciate all the tips and all suggestions about hijack journal, because it helps to alert scholars about problematic journals. So if you have any tips, then please submit. I will be happy to add it to the database.
You are not about to buy them.
There's another question in the chat by Maluk Umrami.
I don't think it's a question for me.
Yes, this is not a question for you.
Because it's about supervision and chemistry. I'm in social sciences, so.
Yeah, I will answer that question later on. If do we have more questions? If not, then very thankful to Dr. Anna.
Thank you very much for invitation.
Thank you for your contribution. It means a lot to us. And with that, we can end our today's session. Today we have explored the foundation, vulnerabilities, and hidden dangers of modern research. Tomorrow we will dig deeper in image forensics, medical research, biomedical research, intellectual property manipulation, and large-scale academic fraud. Thank you for your engagement, and please join us tomorrow also. And from now, I say Thank you very much. Thankful to all the participants, all the speakers, and especially Elizabeth for staying with us for whole session. And we are looking forward to her presentation tomorrow. So for now, goodbye. And tomorrow I will definitely change my mic. Thank you, everyone, and goodbye.
Thank you so much. See you tomorrow.
See you.
Bye.